Hey Dukes and Duchesses of Durtumberland, hope you're doing well. I am doing amazing. Right, thought I'd do something similar but different. Yeah, it's probably been 4 or 5 years since I've done a Sunday club ride because I don't own a ride bike. But I thought, they advertise a steady group now. I'll go out with a steady group on this. Got a mudguards on here. I'm running on these wheels at the moment some 50mm Ramblers. And yeah, they slide through on these mud guards, absolutely no problem. Anyway, I digress. What we're here today to do is the hunts. So that's what I usually ride on this bike. So this is the front wheel from this bike, and it is a Hunt Gravel X, 4-season Gravel X wide, and as you can probably tell, there's a bit of play there in the hub. So today I finally got my own sliding hammer and my own bearing press. There was a comment a while ago on my video for zips when I've replaced the bearings on these about, oh, it's an easy job if you've got the £500 worth of tools, and that guy conceded when I showed him that I had not spent £500 on tools. These tools actually I borrowed from a mate. These aren't his, these are my own versions. But just to go through what we're using here, actually I'll just pop this round. We have the sliding hammer, which I think I paid 25 quid for, maybe 26. And you may have seen that before, but if you haven't, I'll show you how we use that in a bit. The bearing press, which came yesterday, and that was £31.92, and I know that exactly because I sent a mate of mine the link for it yesterday. So I'm going to link to the eBay seller on that. Right. Also, bearing. So the Hunt front wheels and the rear wheels actually take, from memory, I think it's a 6902 bearing, and I bought these online. Rather than getting Hunt's own, I've gone for some different ones. Obviously these will be multiple use, so these I've got for life now, and these, if they last a year, I'll be grateful. Anyway, let's push on. Try and get the camera set up so we can see what I'm doing with changing these bearings over. Replacing hub bearings, I'll be honest, thought was an absolute pro job, but it's something anyone can do with the right tools. Okay, let's push on. Yeah, the tools, 25, 26 quid from memory. I will double check that, and I will post links for these where I got these from. That was definitely £31.92. These were £4.99 each, but they do a deal where if you buy more than one you get a discount. So I think I paid something like £8.90, something like that, I can't remember. But yeah, all together to replace the bearings myself in these Hunts, which are definitely, I don't know if you can see the play there, yeah, it's definitely on the way up. All together 26, 31, 57, about 67, about 60 or 70 quid. So yeah, that eBay seller, I used them for the bearings that I put in the zip wheels. I've just taken this off the stand just so I've got a bit more room. Yeah, so I can't remember, it was it was the rear, yeah. So the rear zip wheels, I used that particular eBay seller for those bearings, and actually, to be fair, yeah, they're holding up really well. I'm really impressed. They've been great bearings, so fingers crossed they last. So these bearings, the eBay seller that I actually used him for, or her, I'm not sure what their gender is, so let's not assume he, her, they or them. Let's be modern. So disc rotor off, let's pop that over there. Okay, so yeah, these are 6902 bearings. I've just double checked it, and these are stainless steel. So the guy who I bought them off on eBay, he does chrome steel, which is the basic, stainless steel, and then hybrid ceramic. Now I am about getting the hybrid ceramic, but I think just for getting through winter, I just went with the stainless steel rather than chrome steel. These are hopefully will last a bit longer through winter. Right, now set up on the chesty in the hope that you'll be able to see what I'm doing. So the first tool we're going to need, actually we're going to need to take off the disc rotor. So let's grab my disc rotor tool and spanner. So yeah, first off, get the rotor off so we can get into the hub. So, disc rotor off. Let's pop that over there. Persuasion later. It finally came out. Okay, so we've got our two end caps. Just going to get a bit of kitchen roll, give that a clean up before we put that back in afterwards. Yeah, you can see pretty mucky. So that's normally a good sign. The bearings are definitely gone. Okay, so this is the sliding hammer. We've selected the end that will fit into here, so that goes into here, and then we tighten. I'm just going to loosen that off a bit. So into there, we tighten that off, and then that splays out and hopefully will give us the purchase we need to pull out the hub. We're just going to tighten this up so it splays out nicely. Try and keep that straight as possible. Okay. And then what we need to do is simply pull. And there we go. There's our bearing. There's our very mucky. Yeah, that definitely needs a good clean. So we'll give that a clean. That's the central axle. Okay, so bearings are all out now. Central hubs are out, so we're going to give that a good clean. Get straight through there because it's going to be super mucky. So again, this gets inserted in here. We tighten this up. It splays out. We pull, and it brings out the bearing. And there we go. It's out. So you can see how here that's splayed out so we can get a hold on that bearing. Bearing press tool time. Put those away. Just put away tools we don't need. That can go away as well. That can go, oh no, actually no, I need that out afterwards. Okay, so this is the bearing tool. Let's pop this out of here. These are the old bearings, and to be fair, they look, besides being a little bit mucky on the outside, they actually look like they're in decent nick. They don't feel as smooth as the, yeah, definitely nowhere near as smooth as the new bearings. Interestingly, you can see here, this has a definitely the same size. So I'm just checking all these sizes out. They all, yep, definitely the same size, but this one has a smaller bearing race here than this one, which makes me wonder whether these, well, makes me wonder whether there'll be much difference in the actual use. So I am fitting 6902. So you'll see these all have numbers on. 6804, 6803, 6802. I'm going to get all of these off. I can get them off. And we are looking for a 6902, which we have here. 6902. So this is a press which fits nice and snugly with that. So it's really important you get the right size, because what you don't want is to be pressing onto the actual rubber seal and damaging the bearings. So we're going for a 6902 because we've got 6902 bearings. I'm just going to, those bearings feel lovely and smooth. Right. Yeah, so I'm just going to straighten up that. That's better. Oh, no, it's not. What we'll do is we've got a through axle here. We'll just pop the through axle through, straighten everything up. Yeah, that's much better. Make sure we've got our 6902. We have. That's sitting on there nicely. And let's tighten this on. Oops. Okay, so key again is making sure we go nice and slow to start off with, because we want everything flush and central. I'm just gonna, before I tighten, just make sure that's looking all straight. Yeah, that's looking good. Okay, so you can see it's pushing in. Get that nice and tight. Not too tight, we don't want to damage the bearings themselves. Okay, so disc rotor going back on. Do you like my trousers, by the way? Guess who's having a lazy pajama day? In and on. Sweet as a nut, sweet like Tropicana. Bearings replaced. Rotor back on. Key thing now, let's try it on the bike. Lovely and smooth. Spin forever those. And most importantly, no play now. There was a lot of play in here, as you saw when I had it on the wheel stand. There was a lot of play there in the hub, but no play whatsoever now, so I'm really happy. Dead pleased. Yeah, so we're going to stick the zip wheel back on, and then that bike will be all ready for tomorrow's club ride, and that wheel, more importantly, is all ready for next week's commute. It's very satisfying, you know, repairing your own wheels and your own hubs. So I would strongly recommend it. It's a very small investment, 50, 60 quid. Bearings can be picked up cheaply on eBay. Yes, people are going to say, oh, ceramic bearings are better. Oh, you should always use the manufacturer's own bearings. Look, bearings for me over the last 5 years seem to have become a disposable item. For nearly, how old am I now? 50 years old. I have been cycling cycling seriously for 40 of those years, I would say. 40 of those years. And it's only in the last 5 or 6 years, I've had to regularly replace bearings. So I genuinely think bearing quality has dropped massively, or wheel hub quality has dropped massively, I don't know. Some wheels I've never had to replace bearings in. Hope wheels would be the most common for those. My WTB wheel set, to be fair, I've not had to replace the bearings in. Let's see how these hunts do. The rear hunt bearings seem to be holding up really well. I don't want to jinx things there either. Taking it to a bike shop, I don't know, 20, 30 quid to your LBS every time you want your bearings changed. And if you're changing them as regularly as I am changing them, I think this is probably the 5th set of bearings I've fitted in the last 2 years, then I would be out of pocket now massively. So for me personally, it was a sound investment, buying my own tools for it and just getting the job done myself. Stay safe, keep it supple side down. Feel free to ask me any questions in the comments. Feel free to completely slag me off for my way of removing and installing bearings, and definitely feel free to have a go at me about the state of my disc brake rotors. They are shocking. Right, anyway, stay safe, keep it supple side down. Catch you in the next one. Bye for now.